Welcome. In this video, you'll learn how to connect OPC UA data to your HMI using WebIQ. We will guide you through 4 main steps: creating a new project, setting up an I/O handler, adding OPC UA variables as server items, and connecting a widget to display live data. To create a new HMI project, click the plus button on the left side of the project list. In the New Project dialog, enter a project title and folder name. If you want, you can also upload an app picture or add a short description. Then set up the initial user account with a username and password. It is mandatory to create an administrator user. Just stick with the default setting to use the material design widgets in this version. Finally, choose a starter template and click Create to finish setting up your project. This step is optional. A starter is just a project template. WebIQ already includes some ready-made ones. But you can also create your own templates later and add them to the list. Now it's creating the project files using the chosen template in the workspace and repository folders. This is the starter we just picked randomly. It includes user logout, multi-language selection, and navigation bars on the left and top. Now, we can create the first OPC UA controller, i.e., I/O handler. Open the I/O manager from the launch bar. Here, you'll notice there's already an internal I/O handler. That's just a simulator, and you can remove it if you don't need it. Click Create Entry to add a new I/O handler. It defaults to OPC UA as the handler type. You'll see the configuration cockpit pop up on the right. In the General section, you can use the enabled checkbox to turn the I/O handler on or off. Now we can assign any unique name to the name property. And use the default shared I/O handler library. Enter the OPC UA server's endpoint URL. For this demo, we use the WebIQ demo server. If authentication is required, enter the username and password. Most other settings can be left as default, unless your server requires special settings. Click Apply to test the connection. It's connecting now, and the status will turn green if successful. It's connected, and the status is green. Next, we'll create process data items so widgets can read and write data from the connection. Open the Process Data Manager and click the Browse button to connect to your OPC UA server. Inside the Process Data Manager, you will find several categories for process data. Variables are basic process data points. Here, you see several simulation variables from the internal data source. Internal variables in WebIQ offer powerful features. You can simulate data using functions like sine wave, ramp, or random without a PLC. They're shared across all users and sessions. Click any one of them to open configuration to see these settings. You can also set them to persist values in the built-in database. You can even create your own variables as needed. This makes development, testing, and global status monitoring easy. Structures are very useful for abstracting and defining conceptual data types, making it easier to design modular and reusable composite widgets. Items are for backward compatibility. Variables and structures shall be updated into items, which widgets can then use in your HMI. Each client shares the same variable values for items, ensuring a consistent experience across all users. Unlike items, virtual items are local variables specific to each app instance. So, every web client session has its own separate value for a virtual item. For example, suppose a virtual item's default value is AA. If one client changes it to BB, only that client sees the change. It doesn't affect any other users or browser sessions. Methods are actions you can call on the server. They are imported through the browser interfaces or created manually. To use data nodes from your OPC UA server in your HMI, you first need to create variables for these nodes and have them added to the items list. Open the Process Data Manager and click the Browse button to connect to your OPC UA server. In the OPC UA browser, explore the server structure to find the data points you want to use. You can select any individual node and click Create Variable to add it as a single item. Alternatively, for any parent node, you can select Create Child Variables to quickly import all of its sub-variables at once. In this example, I'll use Create Child Variables to import all nodes under the selected branch and give them a prefix. After importing variables, you need to update the items list to make them available for use in your HMI. WebIQ will prompt you to update items when you leave the import screen. Or you can manually click the Update Items button. For each variable you import, you can define default properties, such as label, unit, decimal places, and limits, when you link the item to a widget. These settings are automatically applied, so configuration becomes much easier. Both variables and items can have these properties. You can choose to have the item inherit properties from the variable, or manually set them as needed. If necessary, you can later fine-tune these properties in the Items tab. Any changes you make here will override the defaults from the variable. Now, add a widget, such as a linear gauge, to your layout. When you assign an item to a widget, WebIQ automatically applies its properties, including unit, minimum and maximum values, and decimal places. As you can see, the label and unit we set earlier for the demo variable have been inherited by the widget. Your widget now displays live data from the OPC UA server, and you can test interactions in real time. You can open the built-in preview browser to view the entire layout, without going through the login process. This lets you quickly test how your widgets display live data from the OPC UA server, and check all interactions in real time. You can also open your system's default browser. This allows you to test the entire project, including the login process, just as an end user would experience it. While the built-in preview is quick for design checks, opening your system browser lets you experience the complete workflow with login, just like your users will. That's it for this tutorial. Thanks for watching, and happy building with WebIQ.